Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Manestream podcast on the Lion's Roar. Today is a very special episode as we have our celebrity guest here. He is the account manager for the Lions United. He started this account way back when the Moodler stage happened, and today we're just taking a deep dive into who you are and what your account is about. So to start today off, just tell us about yourself. Like, where are you from? Are you a student here?
Alright, so first off, my name is Nick Roy. Right now I live in Covington, but previously I lived in Houston for about 7 or 8 years. Right when I graduated high school, family picked up and moved straight here. I started back in 2018 in undergrad. Finished in 2022 with a bachelor's in information technology and industrial technology, and now I'm doing a master's in integrated science and technology while I'm working full time. So hopefully I'll be done by the end of 2025. But yeah, currently a student, just grinding through and working at the same time. By the way, for work, I'm on the Workday development team. I do reports and integrations for our new Workday system that we implemented.
For the school?
Yeah, for the school. We're moving away from like the old stuff, like the LeoNet and the PeopleSoft systems. So in that transition over to Workday, I'm kind of part of doing reports and integrations to help get people the data that they need, whether we're sending it out to third-party vendors or they're sending us information in.
Did you work for them when, I'm sure everybody remembers this, when that time happened where everybody said that our Moodle system got hacked and LeoNet got cracked into?
So I was working for the Office of Technology, but I was in a different position. At that time, I was a computer support specialist. So I was a guy that went around and basically helped do maintenance and repairs on various technology around campus, mostly PCs and laptops. So it's fair to say we were very active during the Moodling time.
I remember that. I remember that time where they made that funny fan fiction that everybody read. I know everyone knows.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I still have yet to find out who that was to this very day.
We've all been trying. I know it started for me, it started my sophomore year. And everybody was just so curious what happened. It was back when I used to work for the channel. And we had to do a baseball game, and the Wi-Fi was down, so we were calling everybody, trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, I remember that actually, because I believe when we had to shut the Wi-Fi down, or the internet for the campus, we had to bring out like these 5G hotspots to run everything off of. I don't even know if y'all were able to run the ESPN Plus stream for the baseball games.
I don't even remember.
That was a crazy time.
We somehow made it work, and I was just a camera guy, so I didn't know everything about it. And it wasn't too much of a troubling time. I do remember we missed classes for a little bit, and then we had to reset our names. But did you have anything that happened during that time that was just really hard to do?
During the Moodling time? Well, thing is, I'm not too great with math. I know that's crazy to say, because I've literally been in STEM majors ever since I've been here, but I was taking probably the hardest math class that I've ever taken in my life during this entire time.
Really?
And the thing is our teacher was not going to put the brakes on. You know, with things like math, they can just go on the board and they can lecture with the whiteboard. They're not dependent on Moodle or any of those other technologies to operate, I guess, or to make class function. So
classes were just really hard.
So while work was like getting incrementally harder because there was so much we had to take care of on the business end, having to go take one of my hardest classes right after that was just like, you know, put this thing on like veteran difficulty in Call of Duty terms.
No, I totally feel that. Now, during that time, that was when I remember that your account got a little bit popular, and
Yeah.
there was an older account called Dank Eastern, South Dank Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
I might got that wrong, but we'll fix it.
Our Dank Eastern.
Our Dank Eastern.
Yeah.
It was an Instagram account called Our Dank Eastern, and y'all two had a little bit of a collaboration a little bit. I know y'all shared a little bit of posts together. Could you just tell me about that?
So, whenever the Moodling happened, there was a kind of a buffer period. We were slowly getting back online, but we needed to reset accounts. So I created this one account. Well, just to back up a little bit, I was sitting there in the in one of our office rooms, and I basically sat there with a laptop, and I basically had to help people reset passwords and stuff as they came in. So there was time of just like sitting there and doing nothing. So then that's when I pulled out my phone with Canva and all that stuff, and I started messing around with, with memes and all that stuff, because, I'm 22, 23 years old. I'm gonna find something to do.
I mean, might as well. And it was a really good idea. Everybody that I remember loves your account to this day.
Well, I appreciate it. But what happened was, at the time, the account was called Lions for Laughs.
Right.
Now, our Dank Eastern kind of showed up in a time frame that I didn't really post a lot, because there was a previous name to that account even long before that. It was my senior year of undergrad classes in 2022, and I posted like maybe a few posts. Well, somebody that followed that account was aware that account existed. There wasn't too many people that were aware that existed, and they created an account when they thought that I was gone.
Oh.
And so that was what Our Dank Eastern was.
So you were before Our Dank Eastern.
I was before Our Dank Eastern, under an even different name.
It was like Lions for Laughs.
It was something else before Lions for Laughs, and then I changed it to Lions for Laughs during the Moodling era. Our Dank Eastern existed between that first name and the Lions for Laughs name, and then I kind of wanted to do like a collab thing. Like, I just wanted to post alongside Our Dank Eastern, but Our Dank Eastern has a very different approach to memeing and
His is
portraying
more,
the university. It's it plays the line a little closer.
Of course.
So me and him kind of had like a little back and forth for a little bit, and I think people really enjoyed it. But it was all love between both of us. We didn't actually have it out for each other, but it was a fun little rivalry that people got to see a little bit. And if me and him are both producing content, I think everybody wins. At least everybody gets what they want.
I mean, students here actually enjoy when other students make content about the school they're going to,
Yeah.
And have you ever met Our Dank Eastern, like, in person?
I have not. I can't say for certain who I believe it is. There have been like little hints and clues, but I still don't know who they are.
Interesting.
Maybe one day I'll find out.
Maybe.
But they haven't posted in a while, so I'm like, did they graduate already? Are they out working? Are they like keeping it low key for a little while?
I mean, we were doing research, or I was doing research, and I actually did not know about Dank Eastern until y'all two started posting
beefing
about each other. Yeah, beefing. And I was like, oh, okay, there's this person as well. So I was looking through, but his is more a little bit different from yours.
His is a little more extreme, a little more spicy, I would say.
Yeah.
That's the word I would use, spicy.
Spicy, that's a good word. And have y'all guys ever talked recently?
In recent times? I think the last time me and him talked was maybe 2 or 3 months ago, actually.
That's actually not too far. I thought it would be like a year.
No, it was a little more recent than that. But the thing is, like, they haven't posted in probably like 6 months or 7, 8 months.
It's been a while, and I know some people are saying that he actually like his account, not him. His account actually died a little bit, and honestly, I have no clue. He could possibly be a graduate, and honestly, if I could invite him on the show, I would, and know more about him as well.
Right.
But with your account, what was your intention of making the Lions United? And I know it's named the Lions United now, but even when it was made.
So there was different intentions at different times. Whenever I first created the account in undergrad, I was a student worker as a delivery person for the Office of Technology. I did a lot of like computers, cameras, laptops, all that kind of stuff. And there was a lot of buffer time, a lot of senioritis kicked in because I wasn't taking as many classes. I just needed to fulfill the rest of my requirements. And I was with a coworker, but he noticed in the past that I was really good at like making little memes just to be funny for like group chats and stuff. So he's like, hey, look at what these people are doing at LSU. And LSU had this account called LaVille for LA Teens or something like that. It's now called LSU Fifth Year, I believe. But it has like 13,000 followers, just memes left and right. And he's like, we don't have this at Southeastern. We don't really have somebody that does this. So that might be like a little niche for you. I'm like, okay. So I made a few of them, didn't really think too much about it. I graduated in like a month after that. And then I didn't know if I was coming back or not yet. So the account kind of like died off for a little while. All of a sudden, I come back. I'm still figuring out everything with grad school and work and all that. So we go all the way to spring of me not touching the account at all. Well, the Moodling happened, and then there was that time where I was sitting there doing password resets, just in a buffer mode. So that's when I rebranded to Lions for Laughs, and I just started throwing more content out there. There wasn't really much of a purpose for it, but I think it was entertaining for myself as much as it was for everybody else to kind of laugh about all this, because who would have thought like we would have been going through all this stuff at the time. And then I got busy again with work and school, so it kind of took a step away from Lions for Laughs for a little bit. And then that fall, we were about to close out the semester. I think I might have been done with my last final already, so my semester was basically done. And what happened was we actually lost a student on campus, unfortunately. And it was around Christmas time, and everybody was kind of just on a decline. It was just it was a very tragic situation, and nobody really knew how to process it,
Especially like it wasn't no one knew his name until later after. And then I remember during that time a lot of people were saying like he was in their class, or they would say that he was failing and stuff, but it was a tragic time.
It was a really awful situation, and you gotta value life every day. You gotta value everything that comes at you, and you gotta just take it as it comes, because you're never guaranteed tomorrow. You don't know what could happen. Asteroid could hit the Earth, or you can have a bad visit with the doctor, all of that. And it really put some things into perspective for me, because for me, I was just going to work, I was just doing my job, I was going to school, not really applying myself as much. You could still get good grades, you could still do a good job at work, but there was no fulfillment there. There was nothing that was I'm really making a difference, or I'm really doing something. So I saw this account that I had, and I'm like, how can I spin this? How can I do something to help out? Not saying, oh, I'm gonna make a meme account, it's gonna fix everything. It's not gonna solve world peace, or cure world hunger, But if I could uplift people a little bit, get people more into good spirits again, make people feel good again, and not necessarily altogether, but just a little bit of healing, a little bit of, taking away a little bit of that pain, then I felt like that was something necessary to do. So I started working on that account again, but I took a much different approach this time. With Lines for Laughs, it was all about just throwing memes out there and just making fun of situations that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
This was more of a way to uplift people, more of a way to advertise people, more of a way to be like a hype man for people. And there were still memes. I obviously still had my little fun in there, but the difference was actually like showing people on campus, showing different stories, showing different groups, showing people and letting them know that they're seen. There's so much happening on campus. You have Lions War, you have athletics, you have the theater groups, the art groups, you have so many entities on campus, and it's so hard for people to keep track of all of it. It's so hard for people to keep up with, what's going on campus. And I thought, it'd be really cool to just like highlight that stuff, kind of be like a central system for it. Because there's only so much that y'all can do, as reporters. And so that's when I started, applying myself more to actual campus life. Now, just to give you a little background, when I did undergrad, I wasn't as applied to campus life. I was new to Louisiana. I came from Texas. All my friends were over there.
Really?
I was fresh. I was fresh here, so I had no friends. I had nowhere to go, nothing to do, and I was kind of like a social outcast, I would say, a little bit. So I wasn't going to football games. I wasn't, going to SGA activities. I wasn't doing any of that. So I'm like, you know what? I didn't do all this stuff in undergrad. Now it's time to actually start like doing that stuff before it's finally really over and I'm out in the big world.
No, I agree. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you're good. You're good.
Basically, I'm not from Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And going to school here, I felt the same like premise of like I didn't know who to talk to or what to do because I didn't have any friends at first. So I struggled communicating with other people and I just didn't want to be involved because I didn't like being in a social space as well.
Yeah.
So like I'm just letting you know like I feel that too.
Yeah. I mean, my high school, I don't think my counselors even heard of Southeastern Louisiana University. Because I was in Houston,
Yeah.
Our equivalent over there was Lamar University in Beaumont. So, of course, they didn't know who we were because we never had really alumni leave there to go to Southeastern. You had like your LSU kids, you had, your Tulane kids and whatnot, but you didn't have like Southeastern.
Tulane.
You had a couple. I went to a place called Clear Horizons Early College High School, so it was actually a magnet school, and I finished with 69 credit hours of college work. So that was another thing. I came in not as a freshman, I came in as a junior at 18. So by the time people are juniors and seniors, they already have their friend groups and their cliques and all that stuff. And I was already skipping all the biologies and the psychologies and all like the general studies coursework where you really meet like your friends and whatnot. So I was just entering like the actual curriculum work for my major, and it was like, man, I'm like a stranger to everybody. Like I'm just the new kid, So it was a struggle for a little bit, and for that I kind of like separated myself from everybody. And now that I was running this account and now that I was in graduate work, it kind of set in like I need to actually get my college experience in. I need to live my Southeastern life because I wasn't really doing that in undergrad. So I remember I kind of posted a little bit that December when I first brought the account back. January, I saw that theater was having a show, APO. They were doing a showing of Radiant Girls. didn't know anything about that, didn't know about anything about theater at all. I peaked in theater when I was in 6th grade. I was like townsperson number 2 or something like that. Okay, that was like the most I ever had.
You had a little bit of
theater-wise.
experience.
So I'm like, let me just go to a show. I went to it and I was blown away. They didn't have this high production set. They didn't have like all this stuff, you know, that you think a Broadway production would have. But the people were great. They were passionate about what they were doing, and they genuinely looked like they were having fun, you know. And their community's not that big, you know. When you walk into Southeastern, the first thing you don't hear is like, oh, go check out APO or whatever. It's usually, hey, go check out Strawberry Stadium for the football games or the athletics and all that stuff. And that stuff is important too. I wasn't even going to that stuff, you know?
No, I agree.
So I started posting more about theater, and these kids were like uplifted. They're like, oh my gosh, somebody's talking about us. Because maybe they didn't feel like they were talked about as much before. Like, you know, whenever they did a show at Columbia or they did like one of the regular APO shows, of course Lions Roar talked about it and whatnot. But like, it was like, wow, somebody other than Lions Roar is talking about us. So it really uplifted them, and when I saw that joy that they had, I'm like, I gotta bring this elsewhere. And so I started going to more clubs, more orgs, started talking to more people on campus, and it really showed me how underrepresented I feel like a lot of people were. You know, nobody was talking about, you know, chess club. Like,
Literally.
You know? And it's like, this could be really cool to like hype up and turn into something. And we still gotta get there. You know, it's still a work in progress, but...
Of course. And, you know, your account, this is the funny thing, okay? It's funny. I was in a meeting one day, and we were talking about ideas and stuff, and I was like, could we do a collab with Lions United? And it was back before you revealed yourself, and they're like trying to figure out who it was. And I have a friend who knows you, and before you revealed yourself, and I remember at Strawberry Jam, I was on the football field, and he was looking for you. And I was like, watch it be that guy right there, and you're standing in line for something. I was like, like, and he texted me later, and he was like, yeah, it was the guy.
It was Cade.
Yeah,
Cade.
Yeah, you know.
Cade. Yeah,
it was so funny. Cade Genovese.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Cade, man. Holding it down on the manager side of things. No, he's awesome, man. I'm glad that me and him got to link up. But yeah, at that point, some people in like my inner circle already knew. And the problem with running this account is like once you tell one person, then they're gonna tell somebody, and then they're gonna tell somebody, and then they're gonna tell somebody. So I'm like, all right, let me just make some like unrealistic deal or whatever, and then I'll say like I'll reveal my identity if any of the things happen. So I said, you know, if we raise the $100 million for the centennial year, or we get the million or 1,000 weekly hours or whatever of community service for Southeastern. And then the third one was probably my biggest mistake. I said, if a team in the fall wins their Southland Conference title, well, me being a dummy, I didn't look up the volleyball team and realize, hey, they've won the Southland for the last 2 years, and they're currently undefeated right now in conference play. Whew, that was a one-sided deal. I'm sure everybody was very happy about that. Like, why'd you do that? You're basically saying you're going to come out with it. But in my perspective, everybody was already, like, kind of getting on to me. But let me tell you real quick what I did to throw people off. What was so good about the account was I was talking about a wide variety of people on campus. So, you know, sometimes I'd talk about people in the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. Sometimes I'd be talking about STEM. Sometimes I'd be talking about business. Oh, athletics over here. Oh, Lions Roar over here. You know, so I was all over the place. And I knew maybe if I pressed somebody completely different for long enough, people would start to think that it was them. you know, like, oh, let me push out some content about Kenneth Woods, you know, and then people might start pressing him and saying, hey, do you know who it is? Is it you? Or hey, DJ from Admissions, you know, let me push him for a little bit, you know, let me get some heat onto him.
You did a really good job, because I did think at some point you were part of some organization at school. I was like, how does he know that? Because you would get news real fast.
So that, my friend, is called social engineering. What I would do is I would take the very little amount of information that I have about that group or that event, and I would use that as leverage to sort of gain more information, because it would be like, for example, for theater, I knew somebody that was in theater before. So I'd be talking to somebody in the DMs while I'm posting content about, you know, that group. And me and that person will be talking, and I'll say, you know, I'll name drop somebody, and they'll be like, wait, I know that person or whatever. Hey, so are you coming to this thing, like the Vonnies in March or April? And it's like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to make that, but I didn't even know the Vonnies existed. So now I have that information, now I can leverage that.
Okay.
So you gotta play, and that was all part of hacking. Like, it's all, you know, you gotta be able to use the information to your advantage and make people believe that you're part of that org or that group. Make them think that you're a legitimate person. And I was using that around campus all over the place. So that's how I was able to obtain information from people.
That is crazy.
So you're taking like this little bit and you're turning it into this, just by finessing.
Dang, dude.
That was the fun part of it all. It was like playing Clue.
What? Are you good at like Clue board games, like, and stuff like that?
I would say I'm okay. I play with really good players.
You must. There's a game I've played. It's called. I think it's called Bloodshed on a Clock Tower game. It's like a game almost where. I'm going off topic, but I'll go off topic for a little bit.
You're good.
It's a game where you have a room full of people, and certain amount of people are the villagers, and then there's like one person who's like the sheriff, like mafia.
I know what you're talking about. It's like that TV show Traitors.
Yeah.
So another thing, just to lean off of that, I'm probably one of the biggest Survivor fans ever.
Really?
I love Survivor. I buy like the buffs online from CBS and whatnot.
Okay.
I study that show in and out. So, you know, the greats, your Boston Robs, your Parvati's, like all of those players, you know, I've studied their game style and how they're able to manipulate and how they're able to finesse their ways into getting people to vote a certain way, you know, like Big Brother, you know, or newest show, The Traitors. You know, you got a wolf in the room. You know? You got to convince everybody else that you're not the wolf, that somebody else is the wolf.
And then you got to convince the person who's looking for the wolf that this person is the wolf.
But it was so easy.
Before you revealed your identity,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, you had a group of people with you, you know, because you were getting information fast before we could even publish it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kept thinking about it, and, you know, I asked Cade a little bit. He didn't give me a lot of information, so I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. But I kept holding it over my head, like, I predicted you at the Strawberry Stadium. I was like, I know that's him, you know?
Like I got that look.
Yeah.
Like that mischievous, like...
I was like, oh, that's him, isn't it? And it was funny because I didn't mean to. I was just joking around, like...
Oh, it's probably him over there.
Yeah.
The guy with the crazy hair. Yeah, it's probably him.
Oh, no worries. I have, like, right now they're a little bit tame, but when my hair grows out, I have, like, a huge afro and whatnot. You can see it in our old videos.
I do bad with this humid weather.
No, me too.
but it looks like a mad scientist. So you got everybody else with like their hair all made up,
Yeah.
and they look great and everything. And then I'm just like, I look like Albert Einstein in the back of the room.
I mean, like right now you look good. Like with that
Thanks.
hair, yeah, you look perfect for the camera.
But I don't know why I was thinking about it. There's a rapper, Lil Mabu. He's he goes to school in Atlanta, like he's a college student.
Oh, I did not know that.
But he does like little shorts, and they have like everybody in the room, like, and they're just doing like their physics and everything. And he's just in the back. His hair is all wacky and everything. And he's just like writing, and it's almost like, yo, is he cooking lyrics right now? Is he like doing something crazy? I felt like I was almost like that guy. Like, oh, yep, he sticks out like a sore thumb. It sure is that guy.
No, because so my hair grows really poofy. And it's like super curly, and especially like, Louisiana weather, and same with Texas weather sometimes. It could get humid and super windy outside, and then randomly it'll start to rain for an hour, and my hair was just like up to here. Like, I look like, I don't know, I just got shocked out of one of those movies, and I had to do a presentation that day in class, and I'm sure people know what I'm talking about, but it was just, or people probably didn't really notice it, but I don't know what it was. I could not focus without my hair getting in my face, where I feel it waving it like across and stuff. And I was just like, I don't know how I lived with that,
What's crazy though is like, we've been getting like more wind and stuff lately, so like the wind will come and it'll just like push mine like straight up, and it'll look like an absolute catastrophe. It's like like a tsunami or something just hit me, and people are like, yo, are you good?
No, I totally
even though I showered like 20 minutes before that.
Oh my goodness, like, I don't know, it was just
yeah.
I get it. I don't even know what to describe it. It was a hot mess. Now, with your account,
Okay.
is there anyone working with you, or is it just you?
So there are two people working with me.
Okay.
Like I said, I still create the posts and I still post everything on my own. So I still like run the account by myself, but there are two people that work with me on getting information and getting the stuff out. So.
Okay. Interesting.
I bet you're curious.
Yeah, do we know these people, or?
Oh, I think one of them y'all definitely know for sure.
Does he work here?
He does not work at Lions Roar. But I think everybody on campus knows him.
Okay.
I think it's a fair assumption to say everybody on campus knows
Are y'all
him.
keeping their identity secret?
I'm figuring out what to do right now with that, because I'm going to graduate from the master's program in December, and eventually this thing's going to get passed on if I leave campus. So I don't know if they want to keep it. They want to keep it anonymous right now, because if I pass it off, then it's like we're starting the game again.
It's almost like a mascot, like.
Yeah.
Pass it off without telling who it is.
Without telling you it is. It's kind of fun right now because everybody kind of knows, who I am, so they can be like, hey, can you post about this, like when they see me in person and whatnot. So it's like it's kind of fun to be able to talk to people and, have it out in the open and not feel like I have to like watch what I say or hide what I'm doing. But the thing is, for the next person, I want to give them that option as to whether they want to keep it low key or they want to, if they want to be out there,
Yeah, and
y'all definitely know one of them though.
Do I know him or them?
I think so.
Now I'm gonna figure it out.
We're gonna make a game out of it probably.
That would be good, like especially if on your account you're like, because I know you have code names for them. There was one that was like Clover. I don't remember.
Clover. There's Clover. And then there's Miles.
Miles.
That was my little code names for them.
Okay.
So, gosh, it's hard to explain why. There's a reason why they have those names. I'll say the Miles one because the Miles thing doesn't give it away, but Me and Miles, we both love Spider-Man. We're both big Spider-Man fans.
Like Miles Morales.
He's like my Miles Morales, and I'm like a Peter B. Parker. Like, I've already hit my stride. I've already hit my peak or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm the guy that eats pizza all day. I'm just like trying to get my life together and everything. But I need somebody to mentor to kind of like get back into that rhythm, get back into that position.
I like that.
So, I'm like his Peter B. Parker, and he's like my Miles.
That's a good representation.
That's a fun relationship that me and him have. And then Clover, gosh, I can't say why, because if I tell you why, it gives the name away instantly.
Okay.
I'm gonna let that one simmer for a little while.
That's fine. Now we're going to go into a little bit of a lighter subject.
Yeah, cool.
And not so much on your account. I think everybody left. So this lighter subject that we'll talk about now is Star Wars. As you know,
yes,
I have my Star Wars T-shirt and
way to represent
Mandalorian.
Oh, Mandalorian socks.
Of course.
You got the fit.
I know, and I've been a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah.
And I know. I did a little bit of research. I saw that you're a big fan of Star Wars.
Oh,
and you
absolutely.
went to Comic-Con. Just tell me a little bit about that.
So, man. So I was born in 99. And as you know, in 99 they came out with The Phantom Menace. Growing up in that sweet period between, just being born and being like 7 or 8 years old, Star Wars was so big. It was really popping off in the early 2000s because the prequels were coming out. Now I have a half brother that's much older than I am, and he's the guy that would collect the video games. He would have like the Legos and all that stuff. So when he was gone, like when he was at a friend's house, I'd pop into his room, plug in Star Wars Battlefront 2 on his PlayStation 2, and I'd just sit there for hours and then hopefully not get caught.
We have a similar childhood.
Yeah, I was really, really into Star Wars.
I was too. We used to play Battlefront 2 on the PS2. I was a little bit younger than the Phantom Menace. I'm like 2 years younger.
Yeah.
So when I was born, what used to happen so much is when I was growing up, every weekend or like close to the summer, they'll just constantly play Star Wars on Spike. Back when cable was
Spike!
huge.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I remember Spike.
And I love the prequels so much. That's why this is one of my favorite shirts. And
yeah,
we used to play Star Wars Battlefront 2 on his PS2. I used to sneak in his room and steal the console and play it.
Yeah.
And it was just one of my favorite games. It was either that or it was Madden 2007.
Gosh, the Maddens, dude.
Dude, it was crazy. And I love Star Wars as well. Do you have any favorite characters that you enjoy or admire?
So Obi-Wan is definitely top of the list. He's definitely my number one character. Somebody that I came to really like after the Clone Wars was Ahsoka. I hated Ahsoka after the first movie that came out for Clone Wars.
Everybody did.
And then after the show was over, and not even before the last season was made in 2020, but before that, I was bawling my eyes out when she left the Jedi Temple and all that stuff. I thought she was such a well-developed character.
And they did that on purpose, too.
Yeah, and I had such an appreciation for it. And we actually saw the voice actor at Fan Expo in New Orleans a couple months ago, and she's so down to earth, so cool.
I'm jealous.
She loves the character. She loves being Ahsoka, and yeah.
Wow.
I also I know I keep spitting off Clone Wars characters,
No, go for
but
it.
Hondo the pirate.
Yes. They that reminds me, I went to Disney World, and we were just talking about Disney World today in the office,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about the smuggler ride where you drive
Yeah.
fly the Millennium Falcon, and Mando's there, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like helping, run it, and they're actually thinking of putting him in like a live action film, I've heard.
Yeah.
And it's just a great time. This is opinion based. I think
Mhm.
it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan, only because they're putting a lot of attention on it. Now I know not all. Okay, before people come at me.
I have opinions.
I know. I know not all the shows and everything is
Yeah.
perfect, but I enjoy that. Growing up, I've come to realize it's just enjoyment.
Because now we're getting more shows. Like, you're getting a second season of Andor. They're going to come out with a Mandalorian movie. Like, none of this stuff was happening when we were kids. It was just, the saga movies.
Yeah.
And that was the most we were ever going to get.
And, I know... Oh, I got a bird. I felt it coming up.
You're good.
I know growing up, we used to build Legos and stuff while we watched Star Wars, and now, like, it's a lot of Star Wars content recently, and sometimes it does feel like it's being force-fed.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of companies are kind of going in the same direction, where it's just like, let's milk this as much as we can, let's throw as much content out there, they'll consume it no matter what because they're fans, and gosh, I hate to say that they're right, but they're sort of right, if we're calling ourselves diehard Star Wars fans, we're going to show out for anything they put out there.
Exactly, and I don't mind it at all. Like, growing up, I just changed my opinion a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they can make a whole nother story up, like, from another galaxy or something.
And that's why it's important to say that these movies were the Skywalker saga, because they could come out with a whole nother saga, a whole nother plot line.
Just make a whole nother character.
I would love that, especially if they did things with, like, I don't know, like the Old Republic.
Like, and now that I don't mind, but I know
They
that...
gotta do it right.
Yeah, I feel the prequels has such a huge has a huge community.
Yeah.
That it will just, if they mess up one thing, someone's gonna figure it out in like 2 seconds, or not 2 seconds, but it will feel like immediately.
Like, seeing the critics on, like, the Old Republic game, the BioWare game.
Yeah.
Just seeing that is like, oh man, if you come up with a movie, you're gonna get cooked a little bit, no matter what.
And like the game called Bounty Hunter where you play as
Jango Fett.
That was one of the games.
I love that game.
And honestly, I'm surprised that wasn't a movie that came out.
That would have been a really good movie, because I've always, and I know this is a hot take, but I've always preferred Jango over Boba. Boba was created from Jango. Boba is a clone of Jango.
Yes, I remember that. Sorry, I just
no, it's all good. So it's like, if Boba came from Jango, because he's technically just a clone that was made to be like a special like child for him, then ultimately Jango's just he's just the ultimate.
Yeah, like he was the bounty hunter before the clones were made.
And trust me, if people were playing that game, Bounty Hunter, and they had more context on how like ruthless he was, how crazy he was, oh man, dude. I think there'd be some more respect on his name. But Boba is such a iconic character. The iconic green suit with the helmet, like, he's the one that made all of it famous whenever they did the original trilogy back in the 80s.
That was, and they showed him off, and...
So nobody really cared too much about Jango after that, because Boba was already, he was already endgame.
And then Boba was such a unique character when they put him in the movie, and they aimed towards that. They aimed that he was a bad guy. He was a bounty hunter, and he was not talkative. That's why in the original movies, original trilogy, they call it.
Yeah.
He's not speaking at all because they wanted to give that premise that he's, scary.
Yeah.
Or not scary, but he's serious and professional.
Yeah.
But I know the Boba Fett movies, or the Boba Fett TV series that came out.
Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, people weren't too happy, and I think that's because, and we could do a whole nother podcast about this.
Really though.
I know, they felt it portrayed Boba Fett in a different light than it did before the show. Boba Fett was better when he was younger, of course. But they showed the older side, and it almost felt like he couldn't do anything that the older Boba Fett could. And that's just my opinion, and that also brings me to our next topic, is about your review channel. It's not on here.
Yeah, no, I got you.
But it's about your review channel, and I've watched a little bit of your last review, and I like it because I've been trying to get into more movie reviews, video game reviews, and I've been trying to bring Lions Roar more into that.
And that's what I've noticed. I recently went on this rabbit hole of just content that was released from Southeastern, whether it came from here or another content creator or whatnot. What I didn't realize is that y'all actually do review books and all of that stuff. I didn't know. I didn't know all of that before. In fact, I didn't know that y'all had much of a YouTube presence altogether. So when I saw that, and the most recent thing I saw was Rosie's new little series, Cozy with Rosie. I'm like, as a 25-year-old guy, maybe this isn't content made for me, but I like the message behind it. Sometimes you need to decompress, you need to step back, and you need to just enjoy your hobbies and your interests. So I love the premise of it. I hope she keeps doing that. But I do like the idea of bringing more movie reviews and all of that stuff to Lions Roar. It just adds another flavor to it. Kind of like how with the account, I'm always trying to find new segments, new things to do. This is something that I want to bring back, but a couple times I would compare a movie to Southeastern. Like I said, if Sky High...
That's true.
If Sky High was Southeastern, and I just compared Southeastern to the Sky High movie that
I remember that
everybody forgot about. Or my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, Meet the Robinsons.
Yes.
If I need to go back to doing more of those, but I like the idea of diversifying the content and making a little bit of something for everybody. Maybe somebody's not going to sit here and listen to Lions United yap about nothing, for an hour.
No,
but they might say, oh, look, they're doing a review on this new movie that came out. And the idea of that YouTube channel was to kind of experiment a little bit and maybe talk more about Southeastern events going on, talk more about stuff that's happening. There's a YouTuber that I really like called Penguin Zero. He goes by Moist Critical on Twitch. But he comes out with the most outlandish reviews on things. But what I like about him is his analogies and when he compares things, how he compares things against each other. He'll use lines exploding like a Voltorb or it's where did that come from? Where did that analogy happen? So I think it's a good way, and to get better at doing things like this, podcasting and talking. I think it's really healthy to have a channel like that just to kind of talk about stuff.
Of course.
Now, of course, the last one was kind of touchy because I'm talking about the preachers on campus and stuff. But those are topics that people are fascinated with. That's what people talk about when they're going to the anonymous account or they're talking to SGA for needs on campus. That's a constant that keeps popping up. So I'm like, I gotta talk about this at least a little bit, at least give some sort of take on it. It doesn't have to be extreme, it doesn't have to cross the line, it doesn't have to do anything crazy, but at least cover it.
Of course.
Put some sort of like digital footprint down.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, kind of like what y'all do on like a daily basis. With those, I get to do a little more research. I get to find out a little more than I would have known before, and it's really fun to dig back. Like, you know, when I was doing that preacher thing, that video, if y'all saw the segment where I did like the OBS and I was pulling up my screen and everything, I actually pulled up Lines Roar articles.
That's what we're here for.
To talk about what was going on and give people some context as to what was happening, because all people saw were like these guys on campus screaming at everybody, but they're all part of a group and all of that, and people may not know about all of that. So I'm like, here's the article, this is Lines Roar. They already did their homework back in like what, 2019, 2020, and then there was a more recent one that came out this year. But you know, it shows the value of what you guys do, because y'all dug into this stuff years ahead of our time.
The only issue is sometimes we're short-staffed.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this is a good opportunity to say that if you have any talent that you want to bring to the Lions Roar, we're always having our ears open and eyes open. And we're always listening, so if you ever want to try to join us, you can always shoot an email, but that's a little plug-in I just wanted to say.
Yeah, guys, I get a lot of my content from Lions Roar. I mean, a lot of it. Like, I will pull stuff from their articles, I'll pull stuff from now their YouTube videos. I just did a post last night that had, like, Rosie's video on it or something. So, you know, the work that I do, a lot of it bounces off from Lions Roar. You know, it's to complement their work, and their work complements mine. So I think this is a great team to be a part of. So if you got something to bring, if you want to write, if you want to, you know, bring special projects, special ideas, you know, hop on board.
Of course.
Great group. Absolutely great, talented group.
And as always, like, we'll always welcome you into the office. We are getting closer to the end. That's for Aaron to know.
Yeah.
And we, at least myself, I have been trying to introduce ways where we could do collaborations together, especially with others at Southeastern.
Yeah.
We just did a podcast with Miss Southeastern.
I watched that one.
And we're trying different ways, and this is a new series where we're talking to celebrities at Southeastern.
Celebrities?
You know, yeah, celebrities, but well-known people.
I'm like, that's a strong word for myself. I wouldn't call myself a celebrity. I think my personal Instagram has like maybe 200 followers.
I mean, here, you're a celebrity at heart, you know?
Yeah. I think everybody's a celebrity at Southeastern.
Exactly. I mean, we come from a small school, and then we go to something bigger than ourselves after we graduate with our degree most of the time. Sometimes it might not be with our degree, but we put our footprint out there.
Yeah.
Especially with the Lions Roar, we're there for all students to engage with and write articles about what they want to know, especially where we're getting into more of a digital media era.
Exactly.
Where we want to do podcasts, videos, do photography, and actually I have a photo essay coming out soon. Shout out.
Okay.
But
all right.
Yeah, like we do want to connect more with students. And
yeah.
To wrap this point up is that we're trying to figure out different ways and see almost what you have been doing, what others have been doing, to connect more with those people who are reaching out, and so we can reach out with them.
Gotcha.
I hope.
And that's ultimately my purpose. I'm not here to be like, oh, Lions United, follow my account, make me famous.
Yeah.
It's not about that. And if it was, I wouldn't be passing the account off to somebody else. It's to serve a much bigger purpose. What I want to do is I want to complement the services that y'all provide, that different departments on campus provide. support the leadership on campus, support the school altogether. Because maybe some people don't know where to turn to find information or find their niche or find like, you know, their place on campus, you know? So it's kind of nice, like, if y'all have like really good content out there, to have somebody kind of like say, hey, look at this, check this out, this is really cool. Because, you know, y'all can only do so much. You know, y'all are putting so much work in the actual like quality of y'all's stuff. It's so hard to then, after putting all of that labor into that, trying to push that out to people and trying to get everybody to have eyeballs on it. So, you know, to have other people, you know, like you said, like myself, Miss Southeastern, and other people to kind of collaborate with, to kind of get y'all out there a little more, I think that's great, and I think it's going to help the school a whole lot, especially with like Le Souvenir. I think it's the number one the number one yearbook in America.
Wow.
So another little fun fact. I've actually been starting a small little collection of Le Souvenirs.
Really?
My greatest find so far has been an issue from 1941, a 1941 edition of Le Souvenir. I'm quite the eBay surfer.
Okay.
I will find anything online.
I have to get with my boss because we are looking for one that has been made, but it got lost in history because, I mean, our school goes back before World War II.
Yeah. 1928, I believe, right? That's when y'all started only like 3 or 4 years after the school opened.
Yeah, and there was a good period where, I mean, I've done a research project for the last 25 years of Southeastern sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's only from 2000, but I was looking on and on, just going on eBay just to see how far we go and if people have any yearbooks. And on eBay, people do, and they sell them. The oldest I found was like 1950.
Yeah, I saw that one.
But we have a few yearbooks missing from our past, and we have an archives closet of like all of our old files and newspapers.
And y'all got like photocopies and stuff, but y'all want like the original, like the original book.
We're trying to find. I'm not sure what year it is, but there was just one year something ended up happening. My boss knows all about it. Shout out Miss Lorraine.
Shout out. Great squad you run here. Great squad.
And well, she has been trying to look for it, and I just gotta get with her again. But yeah.
So I'm gonna say this. I grew up with my PlayStation 3 and my PlayStation 2. One of my favorite games ever is the Uncharted series. Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. 2 is my favorite out of all of them.
Okay.
But I feel like this could be like a really fun like treasure hunt.
So, if you ever want to come in here,
and what I think could be really fun is, let's just say like this YouTube thing that I start doing kind of bounces off, and y'all keep doing y'all's YouTube thing.
That's what
we could do episodes that bounce off of each other's channels.
Of course.
Of like searching for this copy or like doing something really fun and creative that involves a lot of different parties and a lot of different people.
Of course, and you know, growing up, it is kind of cool that now like I've been meeting so many people. And I don't know where this is coming from, but like I was just like, damn, like I'm meeting all these people, and honestly, it is an honor to meet you.
It's an honor to meet you too, man.
And you know, I'm trying to think what.
And you do photography for athletics, right?
Actually, I do photography for Lions Roar.
But you do it alongside them, so you're at the athletic events.
Yes.
Taking pictures and stuff. Yeah. They're taking like their like athletic photos that end up on their website and stuff. But you're the person that takes photos for the Lions Roar.
Of course.
Because I've seen you out there.
Yeah.
And I'll see you talking to Cade, and I'll see you talking to the other photographers. And Cade would tell me that y'all were talking to try and figure out who Lions United was. and y'all were thinking maybe it was Cade, and then y'all were pointing at each other and all that stuff. So I knew that you were also sort of part of that like coalition. I knew you were out there too. So I'm like, man, this guy is always at, he's at Lions Roar. He does photos for them. And then he's at the athletic events doing stuff for advertising their stuff. I'm like, he's almost like Spider-Man, dude. Like, the photography thing, literally.
I'm gonna tell my friend that because
you're literally Peter Parker. You're a photographer for a news outlet.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. I'm gonna tell my friend this. He's a huge Spider-Man fan.
You're Peter Parker, man.
Thank you.
You're like the OG real Peter Parker. I'm the Peter B. Parker, like the old guy from like another dimension, and then I got my Miles. Oh man, Halloween's gonna be lit this year. Y'all just watch.
Yes, Halloween with the Lions Roar. Oh my goodness. We had a meeting, and I think we did a social media post where it was like, I think it was the day of Halloween. It fell on a Friday, I think. And so our meeting was Halloween based, and I didn't show up. I had problems going on, but all my coworkers threw a party where everybody dressed in their favorite costumes, and it was just a great time. Like, we here at the office, it's just,
y'all look like y'all have fun.
Yeah,
y'all look like y'all are having a good time.
We sometimes have too much fun.
That's a good problem to have, though. You do not want to be in a place where you're always miserable and
you don't want to work.
Man, that's what makes my job so much fun, is the people that I work with. I have great bosses, I have great coworkers, people that are very experienced, very knowledgeable, people that teach me a lot, but they're also fun. Like, it's also nice to have conversations with them. It's also pleasant to deal with them. You want to be in an environment like that. And this is the place to be creative at. It's the place to, like, think of new ideas, come up with things,
Of course.
This is like a think tank almost.
We accept almost anything. I don't want to say everything, just in case.
Yeah, not everything.
We accept a lot of things. Like, we have a web designer here.
Wow.
I'm not sure what he's graduating in, but he does web design, and he does things for our social presence with the school online and digitally.
That's awesome.
And then, we have people who do photography. Romeo's one of them. A lot of people know Romeo, so I know people who watch this mostly know Romeo.
And you got Chase and all of them that do sports stuff. Like, everybody's got a niche. Everybody's got something that they bring, And then you bring all of that together, and you just have like this beautiful like masterpiece of, I don't even know how to describe it, but in the end it's like nirvana almost. You're creating something that's just, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and the goal is to just get more people to see this.
Right.
The content is great, it's there, it's awesome.
Now, I get it, it's not the most entertaining thing to watch.
Yeah, like maybe some people are like, oh, it's not a Mr. Beast video, or
yeah,
something viral. But the thing is, this applies to everybody that goes to this school,
especially people who want to be content creators, because I know we're not insanely popular, and we don't need to be. But doing this, especially what we're doing now, really helps set people up for the real world.
Yeah.
Especially, you're a content creator. I know a lot of other content creators.
And it's not even my degree. It's not even what I'm going to do for a career. So what I want people to see is that if I can do something like this, if I can go out there and do well in just creating something for the school and having like all the students having fun with it, gosh, anybody can do it.
Exactly.
And now you're putting people that are studying this stuff, people that want to do this stuff in a room together. Like, the output is only just like exponentially great.
And being a content creator, I know some people sometimes don't think about it, or some people have thought about it a lot, that it's hard.
I will say this, it's a hustle a little bit. You know, I'm like I said, I work full time. I'm taking a couple classes at the same time. I'm sort of working on a startup company. Like they're you know, life is busy. You know, life is
Right.
crazy. So it's hard to sit down and actually make all of this stuff. Now the thing is like, I wouldn't even say my quality, like the quality of my content is great, but it's about the messaging. It's about, you know, getting the message out there to people. And if, you know, do you really need your memes to be like 10 out of 10 quality? You just throw stuff together in Canva and it works like that. Here it's like a lot more refined. Y'all have to actually edit the stuff that y'all do. Y'all have to like have people look at the stuff that y'all write for Lions Roar. You have to have people, you know, review the videos and the TikToks and all that stuff. So it's a lot more work, especially over here. And if it's that hard for me, I can't imagine how difficult it is on y'all's part
It is
to actually overlook the content. And plus, here's the thing with me. I try not to cross lines. You know, sometimes I might post something that might like teeter a little bit. It might be like, oh, that was a little risky or whatever. I try not to do that.
Of course.
I never go in with the goal to like offend anybody or make the school look bad or anything like that. Like, you know, I'll take a jab at like, you know, bookstore prices or whatever. I think everybody can collectively agree that bookstore prices are ridiculous.
I mean, dude, like $70 for a little t-shirt.
Dude, I gotta take a mortgage out of my house to buy a pack of pencils.
It's a little risky, but you know.
And I will talk about real quick another project that I'm working on. Like I said before, and I told like Lindsay Miller this last year whenever she was doing the interview.
Lindsay.
We did a DM interview whenever she was writing my article, kind of introducing me and everything. But I told her that I wanted to branch off and do other projects too, besides like just running the account. And I've actually kind of like teetered into music a little bit.
Really?
And me and my friend, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if we just started doing like parodies of songs, but doing like Southeastern versions of them?
Get with Dr. Burns. Dr. Burns would love that. He is our comm department.
Oh, I know who Dr. Burns is, trust me. Yeah. Anybody with a pulse on campus knows who Dr. Burns is.
Dr. Burns would rip a sick guitar riff for you to go on with that song.
Because I've already been writing lyrics and stuff, but I'm not like musically inclined, so like composing music is like a struggle. I can work my way around FL Studio for a little bit. But I got a friend that's really good in that stuff. So I'm like, just give me like a fat beat or something. I'll do like a drill rap to diss like, you know, Nickel State or something like that. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if like at our home game this season we just bust out like a diss track?
It's like
it's like the Kendrick Lamar beef, but like, you know, actual like age appropriate version of it.
Like some schools have done things like that against each other. With the rivalry, that's the hardest word I've ever had.
Rivalry.
Yeah.
I had a hard time just coming out with that.
And honestly, that would be perfect. And
it's adding more ideas because like I'm not trying to be like a full-time content creator in my future or trying to be a musician or anything like that. But somebody might see that and say, hey, I want to do that. Like, I want to actually pursue that project. And they can pick up on what I'm doing already and they can actually excel in that field. You know, if like I could just sit there and write my own articles and all that kind of stuff. My work is probably not going to be so hot. But somebody else might read that and be like, hey, I want to do that. But they're really passionate about it and they're really good at it. Well, now everybody's getting the same product, but it's like incrementally better because somebody was inspired to go pursue that project and they actually care about the quality of it and stuff. While I'm just like throwing out things that you can do on campus. Like,
of course.
This is a sandbox of creativity and innovation.
This is where it all starts.
College is where you get started with all of that. That is where you really forge yourself into what you want to be.
Yeah.
And what better place to do it than with other people that are doing the same exact thing? just a sandbox.
And then you have people who will guide you, especially with connections like
Exactly.
networking, into real life.
It's half education, half networking.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, to me, I use college for that, especially not to just make friends and go to class and get a degree, but it's a environment you can test your skills with and
Yeah.
improve on them, like this podcast.
Yeah, get input from other people.
Yeah,
Have other people say, hey, I really like this part, and then maybe give you like a little critique, like, oh, if this could improve, like that would be great. And thing is, I did that in CS. We had to build applications and websites and stuff, and we had to present them in front of industry. And it was a way for industry to actually start meeting us and potentially give like job offers, but also critique our work and let us know how we can improve on our craft, how we can get better. And then when you leave this place, your stuff is like 100 times better than when you were going in, and you're more sure about doing that than you were before.
of course. And now, so we have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Before we go on even longer.
Yeah.
I do want to let people know, just keep trying. Even right now, you're in school, it's okay to mess up.
Yeah.
Keep trying, improve your skills, talk to more people, socialize. This is the time to grow, especially when you get into the professional world, and those mistakes, you can't do them anymore because they're looking for you not to make them. So to end this podcast here, this is Lions United, Nick Roy with us, and today it was a great day. I think this was a
great
fun
day.
podcast.
This was fun to sit down and talk to you, not just about the account itself, but the various different commonalities that we have, and I think it shows how similar everybody really is on campus, how united we all are.
Of course.
Pun completely intended.
And that is a good one. Yeah, I didn't that like flew over my head. But to end it here, this is the Alliance Mainstream Podcast. Please stay tuned for our next episode with our other guests that I can't name right now. So be on the lookout, and we'll see you next time.